Good morning. It's Lisa with Lisahealyourself. Today I want to talk about what is the unconscious mind and how do we change these unconscious and subconscious patterns, behaviors, and ego identities that we hold that are contributing to what we don't want in our life, that are contributing to illness. So if you are excited about this, please give it a thumbs up right now. Hit the subscribe button and let's get into it. I've got a bit of a cold today, so just excuse the raspy voice. Okay, so let's start with who and what you are. You are whole, you are complete, and you are a fragment of God itself. You are a piece of Source itself. You are a piece to the huge puzzle, which means you are a fractal of Source, of God. You are perfect, you are divine, you are powerful, you are at peace, you are healthy, you are all-knowing, you are eternal. We are made up of consciousness. We have three parts of this consciousness in human form. We have what we are conscious of. The consciousness is what we call it, our conscious awareness. We have subconscious awareness, and we have unconscious awareness, unconscious thoughts, patterns, and beliefs. So subconscious and unconscious are similar in the fact that sub is right underneath the surface, and although it's not in our conscious awareness, we do sometimes have access to it. If we dig deep enough, if we look back in our memory, if we look back in our thoughts, we can access the subconscious. The unconscious is all our patterns, beliefs, and thoughts that we are not conscious of at all. We have no conscious awareness of why we do the things we do, what the programs are, the behaviors, the patterns, like what is running our behaviors and patterns. What are these unconscious beliefs that are ruling our life? We have no awareness to them. And then we have everything that's conscious to us. So things that we're aware of, things that we can already see, whether they're good things in our life or bad things in our life, whether they're good habits or bad habits. We are aware of them. We may not be aware of the patterns that are driving them. That might be in the subconscious or the unconscious. But anything that we have awareness of that is in the light is in our conscious awareness. So if we have a flashlight and we are shining it on an object, we're shining it on something, that is everything that is in our conscious awareness is everything that we can see, everything that we know and understand. It's in the light of conscious awareness. And then anything that's in the unconscious is anything that the flashlight is not shining on. It's in the darkness. It's in the darkness of awareness, and therefore we can't see it. We don't know it's there. But just like shining a flashlight on something, it doesn't mean it's not there. If we move the flashlight and shine it on what's dark, it suddenly comes into conscious awareness. The unconscious becomes conscious. So in making the unconscious conscious, we must bring it first into awareness. We must first shine the flashlight on it and be able to see it clearly for what it is. See the reasons, see the patterns, see the beliefs, the deeply held beliefs and worldviews that are driving our patterns, behavior that is accumulating into a problem that we have in our life. So when it comes to unconditioning and changing our unconscious patterns and beliefs, it is a process in where we bring the darkness of them, we bring the unknown of them into the light. We shine the flashlight on them. And that is always the first step of the process, is to become aware. The first thing I would say is that everything you do is run by an unconscious pattern or belief. Everything that you are doing, everything that you think, everything that you are is made up of patterns. It's made up of things you've been taught, things you've been told, things that you've learned. It's made from the identity that you have created for yourself, which is called your ego. And everything you do, good or bad, comes from beliefs and the identity that you hold, that you've created. It comes from the ego. The ego identity, the identity that you've created, is not the real you. It is the identity that has been constructed for you. When you were a baby, from the ages of 0 to 2 or 3, before you even remember everything, you were picking up patterns, you were picking up beliefs by watching your caregivers, by witnessing the world around you. You were being flooded and programmed with how to be and how to think. When you were in this childlike, hypnotic state, in your early childhood years, you were a sponge. You soaked everything up. You were programmed. Unconsciously, you built an identity. Unconsciously, you created beliefs on how to be and act in this world, what was acceptable to fit into the tribe. You learned by soaking it in, unfiltered, when you were young. And as you grew, you had experiences that shaped you, that changed your thoughts, your beliefs, your thinking in good and bad ways. And you developed patterns, beliefs, and behaviors based on all those early years of hypnotic programming, and also in your later years of experiences and relationships and ways of being. These helped form deeper beliefs, new beliefs. And all these beliefs and these worldviews made your egoic identity. It made you construct the person that you believe is you. But that is not the real you. Remember, we started this video by saying who and what the real you is. So although you've constructed this egoic identity that is not the real you, it is your egoic identity on earth, your personality, your name, who you believe you are, what are all your beliefs, right? And you are the way you are because you have certain values and beliefs that are driving your patterns and behaviors. Sometimes these patterns and beliefs come from conscious programming. You understand where it's coming from. You can see it. It has already been made conscious. But many of it, at least 60 to 75% of it, even some scientists say up to 90%, is coming from your unconscious or subconscious pattern and beliefs. The part that you're not even aware consciously of what drives you to do what you are doing, what drives you to be the person and the personality and this identity that you've created based on years of hypnotic programming and years of practice becoming this identity and securing it into place through repetition over the years. Okay, so now that we understand what it is, how do we change it? How do we change our unconscious and subconscious beliefs so that we can change the patterns and we can change the behavior? Number one is you have to bring them into awareness. You have to see what is there, what is truly there. What is the reason underneath this pattern? What is the belief that is driving your personality, your relationship, the pattern, the bad habits? Remember, consciousness is thought. We can think about these things. We can see them. We are aware of them. And the unconsciousness is just a habit. It's running on autopilot. It's a program running in the background that drives your behavior, that drives your life that you are not aware of. You're not consciously aware of. Once we are aware of these things, step 2 is to be courageous enough to see them and change them. And this takes work. This takes practice. This takes repetition because we are undoing a lifetime of programming. So your identity, in essence, is made up of all these limiting beliefs that you've been programmed over the years to believe in order to keep you accepted, loved, and safe. So when breaking these, when coming face to face with the awareness of them, and when you've done the work to shine the flashlight on them and you can see them, it's not like it automatically dissolves once you see it. Now the work begins. like breaking any bad habit, quitting smoking, or being overweight, or stopping using drugs, or stopping gambling, or all of these bad habits that people have. They're conscious. They are fully aware of that they have this. And it takes a lot to break the habit, because it takes for you to replace the bad behavior with something good, to replace the bad thought with something good, to replace your self-hate with self-love. It takes a lot of replacing. But it's so important that we understand what we're replacing. If we actually can become aware of what it is, what the belief is, then we can change it. Because it's very hard to break a pattern, say, of smoking, if you don't understand, for instance, what the belief underneath the action and habit of smoking is driving you. What is the actual belief underneath it that's keeping you stuck in that pattern? How, in essence, were you programmed not to be able to break that habit? It's because there's an underlying belief about yourself that you won't be loved, or you won't be safe, or you won't fit in. There's something about it that is deep rooted. Maybe your mom smoked, maybe your dad smoked, maybe you felt love when they were holding you and smoking at the same time. Maybe it made you feel safe. But there's a belief for everything that we do. There's a reason. And when we shine the awareness on exactly what that is, then the habit is much easier to break. Then the pattern is much easier to break. It still takes work. The work comes in the actual changing of it. But finding the awareness of it first, understanding it first, makes it so much easier to change, because we can see it. And when we can see something, when we're aware of it, we can change it. When it stays hidden to us, when we're still unaware of the belief that's driving that behavior, we simply can never change it, no matter how much we try to reprogram and override that bad habit. The belief is still underneath it. So sometimes we get lucky. We can change it without discovering the belief. But it's very difficult to keep up. Or often we replace them with other bad habits, because the underlying belief is still there. So the work it takes to change is actually in reprogramming yourself in a hypnotic state, which is how you were programmed in the first place. So doing self-hypnosis, this is why people repeat mantras. They listen and play affirmations while they sleep and while they're in their first waking and going to sleep moments, because the brain has settled down. The brain has settled into a state that it can be programmed. When we're in the middle of the day, it's very hard to override our brain state, because it's in the waking and working brain state. It's not in a state that's conducive to hypnosis. So when you're doing your visualizations or when you're doing your affirmations during the day, it's very hard to override these programs. When you do them at night, when you do them when you're in a very relaxed or meditative state, this is when the reprogramming, because you're in a more hypnotic state, can take place if we repeat it enough times. If we repeat it, then we can erase the program that is there and replace it with something new. This is why affirmations work. This is why the law of attraction works. This is why brain retraining and all your visualizations work. And the more you do them, the better they work, because you're overriding your old patterns. You're overriding your old programs. I'm going very slow here because I'm on a sheet of ice. And when you do these meditations and visualizations and affirmations while you're sleeping, it's even better, because you're in a more receptive state. Your unconscious, your subconscious is listening, and your conscious mind is not getting in the way. When you first wake up, you're just in that between stage of sleep and awake. Or when you're going to bed and falling asleep and you're just in that between stages, you're also very receptive. Your subconscious and your unconscious mind is listening while the conscious mind is beginning to rest. So that's why brain retraining programs, listening to audio of recorded affirmations, creating your own visualizations for brain retraining, they're very powerful tools. But again, and these work. But again, if we don't change and find the belief underneath it that is driving these behaviors, we may be able to reprogram this. We may be able to reprogram our bad patterns, our bad habits, even our illness. But if we're not getting to the root of our beliefs, they may manifest or come back in other patterns, in other ways, because those beliefs are still there. You haven't really changed your identity and the beliefs that are controlling this false self, this false ego identity that is just a creation, a programmed creation. So then how do we shine the flashlight on the underlying belief so that we can see it? So that we can eradicate it from the root, so that when we do the work to change and break the patterns and override the behaviors through brain retraining and subliminal messaging and affirmations and talking kindly to ourselves and self-love and self-care and patience and kindness and all the self-work that we do to heal, how can we make that easier on ourselves and make sure that we're actually getting to the root of the belief that's driving it in the first place? This is where you must become an investigative journalist in your own life. You must become an archaeologist. You must be curious. You must learn how to dig. Every behavior or action that you take in your life, from getting up to brushing your teeth, to having a shower, to eating what you eat, to feeling defensive about the things you feel defensive about, to that argument you just got in, to picking up your phone and scrolling aimlessly. Everything has an unconscious belief attached to it. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every action you take is driven by your ego, is driven by your patterns, is driven by unconscious and subconscious beliefs that you hold about yourself, beliefs that you hold about other people, and beliefs that you hold about the world you live in and how you can feel safe and accepted and loved as you move through this world. And so every time we take an action, this is a lot of work, we must stop and say, why am I doing this? You will get an answer. The answer is not the belief. It's not the real answer. You must ask again, why? You must dig. You must look deeper. The next answer you get probably won't be the answer. You must go 10, 20 whys deep before your unconscious will deliver up the answer that resonates with you, the answer that is actually a true belief that you hold on why it is you are doing what you're doing, and whether this thing that you're doing is contributing to your power or taking away your power, whether it's bringing you closer to the real you, the real authentic power that you hold within you as the creator, or whether you are losing your power into the false you, into the victim. You need to ask yourself why you're doing these things. You need to uncover the root, the reason. Not just keep asking yourself until you don't just get a reason, but you get a belief, a huge belief at the bottom of it. And then ask yourself, is that belief causing you to lose power? Is it holding up and keeping this egoic identity in place because you're afraid that if it crumbles, if it falls, if you see that this is not the real you, if you let that part of your identity go, then you will have to feel the fear of wondering if you are safe and loved and okay in this world. And that is where the work begins. Now that you see it, now that the flashlight has shined upon the belief, you can get to work letting that part of your identity go and building something new in its place, loving yourself, getting closer to the actual real you. Okay, so let me give you an example from myself. This morning, actually, this will date this video, but that's okay. This morning, I watched a video on the Julian Assange trial, and then I watched more and more. I was scrolling and looking for more videos and more perspectives on the Julian Assange trial. And I couldn't stop scrolling, even though I was consciously aware that I was scrolling and I didn't want to be scrolling anymore. I knew this behavior was unconscious and something was driving it. And so I stopped. And I said, why am I watching this video? So the answer is because I feel connected to this case, because I feel it's super important, because I feel that the future of journalism and truth is at stake with this trial, because I'm concerned about Julian. I'm sickened by the treatment he has received, and I'm wondering what fate bewaits him. So that's a good answer, right? That's the why, but I know that's not my belief. So I keep going. I don't just stop there, even though that seems like a really deep, unbelievable answer. That's a valid reason. Why am I doing this? Why am I scrolling? Why am I looking? Why do I feel so connected to this case? So I asked myself, why? Why am I so concerned about what happens to Julian? And I wait for the answer, because what happens to Julian could happen to any of us. What happens to Julian matters, because it matters for all of our future. It matters for the future of truth. I go deeper. Why? Why does truth matter so much to you? Because I feel like I've been suppressed on speaking the truth. Because I feel like I'm misunderstood and I have been controlled. And I long to feel understood and validated in my thoughts and feelings about how this is wrong, how controlling or imposing on another is wrong. Still not deep enough. Why? Why do you feel that imposing control over another is so wrong? Why is this affecting you so much? Because I'm scared it could happen again. Because I'm afraid for my family. Because I want to keep them safe. Why is it so important for you to keep your family safe? So nothing bad happens to them. And why is it so important that nothing bad ever happens to the ones you love most, to keep them safe? Because if they're safe, then I'll be safe. I'll have people to keep me safe, to fall back on. Still not deep enough. Why do you need somebody in your life to feel safe? Why do you need other people to be happy and secure and safe in order for you to be safe? Because I don't trust myself. I don't trust myself to be capable enough to take care of myself. I feel like I need to rely on others. Go deeper if you can. Why do you need others to keep you safe? Why don't you trust yourself to be able to take care of yourself? Because I'm afraid I'll fail. I'm afraid I'm incapable, that I'll fail, and that I'll be left all alone forever. Why do you feel like such a failure? Why do you feel like you'll be abandoned by those around you and you'll be alone forever? Why do you feel this way? Because my mom died, and her love was the only love I felt I could ever count on, that was unconditional And I don't know if anybody can ever love me unconditionally like that. Why can nobody ever love you unconditionally and keep you in that safe feeling the way your mom did? Because I don't know how to give myself that kind of love. I don't know how to be with myself unconditionally. Why? Because I'm afraid. Because I'm afraid I'm not enough. And there you have it. Those last 4 or 5 reasons are the beliefs, right? Because I'm afraid I'm unlovable. Because I'm afraid I'm not good enough. Because I'm afraid I'm a failure. Because I'm afraid to be alone. These are the beliefs. These are the ones that sit with you, that resonate with you, right? I wasn't just scrolling this morning to watch a Julian Assange video. I was scrolling because I wanted to feel loved. I wanted to be able to love myself unconditionally and keep myself safe in all situations. And I don't know if I trust myself. That is the belief driving that behavior. And when you see it, when you shine a flashlight on that belief, it is easier to change because now you know what needs to be reprogrammed. Now you know what you need to do. You need to instill a confidence in yourself, unconditional love in myself, learn how to trust myself. These are all the remedies to what it is I'm feeling. So that is now what I reprogram myself through my brain retraining. The new visuals that I create is a strong person who's fully and completely loves herself unconditionally, who trusts herself, who can move through the world with strength and love and trust in herself, right? This is the script that I reprogram myself with. These are the affirmations that I use. Now the work is connected to the belief. I've become aware of the belief by stopping every time I do something, every time I'm doing something, no matter how significant or insignificant, and questioning the reason, the why of it, the deepest part of it until I find the belief. And when I find the belief, now I can use all my tools in journaling, in brain retraining, in affirmations, in whatever tool you choose to use to address the belief, to address the part of me that feels broken, to address the part of me that doesn't trust myself, that needs love, that needs validation from myself, right? That needs to build the confidence in myself. That is the belief that I'm working with. Now, when I go ahead and I question other things that I did in my life, that was one example, and I took you through it in real time so that you could see. I'm going to come up against different beliefs and other beliefs. Eventually, if you do this long enough, you will see a repeating pattern of similar and the same beliefs coming up for wildly different actions and behaviors and thoughts that you're taking and thinking and doing and saying and being. So dig. Write down every limiting belief that you find. Circle it, star it when it comes up again and again as a repeating belief. You will start to see the beliefs that are very, very strong and the beliefs that are not as strong because they don't come up as often. You will begin to see why you're taking the actions you take, why the same patterns keep being played out in your life over and over. They are from these beliefs. We need to shine the flashlight of awareness deep into the subconscious and unconscious parts of ourselves until we see them. And then we need to do the work, get to work on changing them in whatever healing tools resonate with you, because we know where we're aiming now. We know the belief that we're trying to undo and change. Remember, we can do this by reprogramming in a hypnotic state, through affirmations, through brain retraining. You can do it through journaling. You can do it through whatever modality resonates with you. So how do we change unconscious beliefs and behaviors and patterns that are keeping us stuck and keeping us sick, we first find them. We dig for them. We become aware of them. We shine the flashlight on them. When we see them, when we understand them, when we can see them coming up over and over in our lives, we do the work to change them, to build a new identity, to get closer to the person that we truly are, which is perfect, which is a piece of God, which is powerful, strong, free, and totally unconditionally loved. We do the work to love ourselves. We do the work to know ourselves. We do the work to let go of all our limiting beliefs, let go of the identity that we've created, and become who and what we really are. We let go of who we are not, and we become who we truly are. And this is how we heal from the inside out. This is how we reprogram our unconscious beliefs. So I know this has been a lot. Please watch this video again. All the information that you need is in here, I promise. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it to anyone who needs this. And please don't let this video be a video that you just hear and move on to the next. Sit with this video, do the work. Actually understand it and do it, because you can only heal when you change. You can only heal when you change. And we change when we make the unconscious conscious, when we become aware of the patterns and the limiting beliefs and the ego identity that is keeping us stuck in the first place. And we change when we become aware and when we do the work. We don't change by listening, we change by doing. So please keep that in mind. Sending my love, and I will see you in the next video.